Secret of the Haunted Chimney. Secret of the Haunted Chimney. Written by Adrian Robert. Illustrated by Irene Trivas. One dark night in early spring, Brian looked out the window. Outside, the wind whistled. Tree branches tapped on the window panes. Only Rick and Sally were home with Brian. Their mother and father were out seeing a movie. Brian was trying to add 28 and 34. But his mind kept returning to the ghost story Stuffy Craddock had told him that day at recess. "It's a good night for ghosts," said Brian aloud. Sally's eyes got big. Sally was Brian's little sister. She loved to hear about ghosts and witches. Rick, their oldest brother, went to high school. He was trying to do his homework. Sally climbed on the arm of Rick's chair. "Tell me a ghost story," she said. "Oh, no," Rick said. "You'll get scared. Then you won't want to go to bed." "No, I won't," Sally said. "I don't really get scared," she thought. "Ghost stories are fun." Brian lay flat on the floor beneath the lamp. Sally knelt beside him. "Don't bother me," Brian said. He didn't look up. Sally looked at Brian. She looked at Rick. They were always busy. Without warning, Sally grabbed Brian's homework paper. He let out a yell. "Give me my homework," Brian shouted. Sally shook her head. "Tell me a ghost story. Then I'll give it back." Rick frowned at them, but Brian didn't care. He was mad. "All right," he said. "I'll tell you about the ghost at the Craddock farm." He turned out the lamp. Now there was only the small light by Rick's chair. Moonlight made the trees look like goblins. Sally shivered. "Better not," Rick warned. Brian didn't listen. "Stuffy's grandpa lived on a very old farm," he said. "Once when he was a boy, he spent the night there alone. In the middle of the night, something came down the chimney." Sally's eyes opened wide. "What was it?" she asked. "Stuffy's grandpa didn't know," said Brian. "But he heard it rustle. He heard it moan. In the morning he climbed on the roof and looked. There was nothing in the chimney. But it came back that night and every night that spring. Stuffy's grandfather says the only explanation was that the noise was a ghost." Sally started to whimper. "I don't want to go to bed," she cried. "I knew this would happen," Rick said, closing his book. "Sally, there aren't any ghosts, especially not in new houses like ours. Go get ready for bed. Brian, you finish your homework in your room." Scratch. It was the softest of sounds. But everyone froze. The sound was coming from the chimney. Scratch. The sound came again. Rick walked over and put on the lamp Brian had turned out. He went to the fireplace and knocked on the chimney wall. "Anybody in there?" he asked. Silence. "You see?" Rick said. It was probably just the sound of the tree branches. He looked at Brian. He looked at Sally, who was too scared to cry. "Tell you what," said Rick. "Sally can stay up half an hour longer. We'll build a fire and toast marshmallows. I'll play my guitar and we can sing." Brian liked to hear Rick sing. Rick played the guitar well. Sometimes he played and sang with his own band. Sally liked to toast marshmallows. She liked it so much she almost forgot she was afraid. "Sally can get the marshmallows," Rick said. "Brian can get the sticks. I'll go for wood." The kitchen was bright and cheerful. Sally didn't mind going there alone. Rick went out the back door. Left alone in the room, Brian went to the cupboard in the fireplace wall. That was where Dad kept sticks for toasting marshmallows. Scratch. There it was again, the same sound, only louder and much closer. It was just on the other side of the fireplace wall. Just inside the chimney. Then Brian heard another small sound. It sounded like somebody trapped in a very small space, scratching hard to get out. The skin on his neck prickled.